funny, isn't it, how the mind holds on to certain ideas for so long? Almost like an old coat, comfortable, familiar, even when it no longer fits. There's something almost protective about it, keeping us warm, keeping us hidden, keeping us safe. And yet, there comes a moment when you begin to notice how heavy that coat has become. And you didn't notice it at first, did you? But now you can feel it. Just how much it weighs, and you wonder, do I still need it? Some people, they hold on to that coat because it feels like armour, right? If I don't show my true self, I can't be hurt. If I don't try, then I can't fail. And yet, that same armour keeps out the very thing you long for most: freedom, love, joy, connection. You know that deep down, don't you? The mind may have built these walls to protect you, but now it's time to remember something even more powerful, something you've always known. Because there's a part of you that's been waiting for this, waiting for you to realise that freedom comes from stepping into your own power. And that power, it's not about control or force, it's about responsibility, your responsibility, not as a burden, but as the key to your own happiness, your own love, your own energy, your own joy. When you take responsibility for your own energy, something remarkable happens. You stop waiting for the world to change for you, and instead you change your world. And maybe you've already begun to notice that shift. You might not have realised it at first, but each time you take a little more responsibility for your actions, your choices, your emotions, something opens. Freedom expands. You breathe a little easier. The heaviness begins to lift. It's like stepping into a room that's filled with light after being in the dark for so long. And that light has been there all along inside you. Some people say change is hard, but is it? Or is it just unfamiliar? After all, you've learned new things before, haven't you? Remember a time when something seemed hard at first, became second nature. Maybe it was learning to walk or ride a bike, or speak a new language. You didn't need to force it. You just allowed it to happen, naturally, step by step. And with every step, something in you said, yes, keep going. And maybe you're feeling that yes now, a growing sense of possibility, of expansion, of something new being born within you. Because the truth is, you were born to express your true self. Not hiding, not shrinking, but shining. Because when you shine, others feel it. When you laugh, others join in. When you love, you create connection. And connection, that is why we're all here, isn't it? So you begin to realise there's no failure, only feedback. There's no rejection, only redirection. Every experience teaches you something, and every lesson brings you closer to the truth of who you are. As you let go of those old beliefs, you begin to feel lighter, freer, more yourself than ever before. It's almost as if part of you already knew this, like a seed quietly waiting beneath the surface, holding everything it needs to grow into something beautiful. And now, as the sun shines down and the rain falls gently, that seed begins to grow. It grows effortlessly, naturally, because that's what it's always meant to do, and so do you. And maybe you can imagine what life looks like when you step fully into that light. Imagine feeling free to express your true self. Imagine taking full responsibility for your own energy, your own happiness, your own joy. How does it feel to be that free, that alive? It's already happening, isn't it? Even now you can feel it beginning, like a new chapter unfolding, filled with possibility, with adventure, with connection, with love. Because the truth is, you were made for this, for freedom, for joy, for love, for connection. So you've always been, and now, you're simply remembering. And as you step into that new way of being, you find yourself smiling, because it feels so right, so natural, like coming home to yourself. And maybe, just maybe, that's the best kind of freedom there is. Because it's interesting how life is always inviting us to grow, isn't it? Sometimes it's in obvious ways, like a voice calling out from across the room. And other times it whispers, softly, quietly, in a way only you can hear, when you begin to slow down and listen. And it's in those moments, those pauses, that something begins to shift inside you. Almost like a door you didn't even realise was there begins to open. And behind that door, a whole new way of seeing the world, of seeing yourself. A world where freedom, love, joy and connection, they aren't just nice ideas. They're the foundation of who you are. A world where every choice, every action, every breath is a powerful expression of your truth. And once you step through that door, you can never unsee what was on the other side. But isn't that exactly what you've been waiting for? Because there's something beautiful about realizing you've always had the key to unlock that door, to step fully into your power, to take responsibility not as a burden, but as the greatest freedom you'll ever know. Responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, your energy, your actions. Knowing that every choice is a chance to create your life on your terms. You've already begun, haven't you? You may not have noticed it at first, but that part of you, the one that knows what's possible, has been gently guiding you all along. And as you listen to that part now, you can feel how much it wants to remind you of something important, something you've always known deep down. There's no failure, only feedback. There's no rejection, only redirection. And every experience, yes, even that one, is here to teach you, to grow you, to prepare you for what's next. And perhaps you're starting to notice how those old fears, those beliefs you once thought protected you, they're just like shadows in a dark room. The moment you bring light to them, they vanish. And that light has been inside you all along, waiting for this moment. The moment you choose to own it. Because when you take full responsibility for yourself, something magical happens. You stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for someone else to save you. You stop blaming the past, the circumstances, the people who couldn't meet you where you were. And instead you rise. You realize everything you've been searching for has been right here within you, just waiting for you to reclaim it. It's almost funny, isn't it? How the very things that we fear, they're often the keys to our greatest freedom. Fear of rejection. It's just a sign that connection is what you truly crave. Fear of failure only means you care enough to want to grow. When you let go of the fear, you begin to see those desires for what they really are, guiding lights, showing you the way forward. Because the truth is, you were never meant to stay small. You were made for expansion, for joy, for love, for full, radiant self-expression. And maybe you're beginning to feel what it's like to step into that truth, to take that breath, the one that feels a little deeper, a little more open, to feel that space inside you growing, expanding, as if your soul is stretching its wings for the first time in a long time. And as you stretch, you start to notice something interesting, something surprising. Perhaps freedom is a choice. Love is a choice. Responsibility is a choice. And every time you choose them, you come back home to yourself. It's like stepping onto a new path, one that feels both familiar and exciting all at once. A path that leads to everything you've always wanted: freedom, joy, connection, love. A path where you don't need to hide anymore. You don't need to protect yourself from rejection or failure. Because you now know you're always learning, always growing, always evolving. And the more you embrace that, the lighter you feel, the more alive you become. It's as if all the old rules, the old limits, they just dissolve, and in their place is pure possibility. And now, as you imagine what life looks like, when you're living in that possibility, you can begin to feel the excitement building. What could you create? What could you experience? What kind of joy, what kind of love, what kind of life is waiting for you to claim it? Because it's already yours. It's always been yours. As you step into that truth, you realize something extraordinary. You are enough. You've always been enough. Not because of what you do or achieve, but because of who you are, right here, right now. And the more you let that sink in, the more powerful you become. It's almost as if every cell in your body is waking up to that truth. You are enough. You're powerful. You're free. And the more you claim that power, the more you radiate it out into the world. You become a light for others, a reminder that they too can choose freedom. They too can choose love. And maybe, just maybe, this is the moment it all changes. The moment you remember who you really are. Because once you remember that, nothing can ever stop you again.